Tauran aggression causes constellation crisis.
Mars enters Uranus.
Ow! And Cancer in ongoing legal battle to change its name.
Well, we just got a bit tired of all the negative connotations with it, you know. Yeah, we thought Canker sounded alright.
Welcome to the state of it.
The state of it! Well, I thought we'd do something a little more light-hearted for this episode and look at astrology.
We'll start with an article from the Scientific American.
Is astrology real? Here's what the science says. About a third of Americans believe astrology is very, or sort of scientific. But does being a Pisces, Virgo rising, really matter in the eyes of science?
Is astrology real? Reading horoscopes is a popular diversion, but is there any science to suggest it means anything?
Inspiration finds you if you're willing to dedicate yourself to a cause.
Problems may arise when you're tempted by a familiar disruption and your willpower weakens.
Something appearing meaningless may be a lesson to learn.
As many as 70 million Americans read their horoscopes daily. Well, that's at least according to the American Federation of Astrologers. According to a study done 20 years ago by the Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life, 25% of Americans believe that the positions of the stars and the planets affect our daily lives.
In 2012, the General Society survey found that 34% of Americans surveyed consider astrology to be very, or sort of, scientific, and also reported a decrease from 2/3 to around 1/2 in the fraction of people who consider astrology not at all scientific.
Astrology is generally defined as the belief that astronomical phenomena, like the stars overhead when you were born, or the fact that Mercury is in retrograde, have the power to influence the daily events in our lives and our personality traits. This is, of course, very different from the study of astronomy, which is the scientific study of celestial objects, space, and the physics of the universe.
A specific aspect of astrology, the forecasting of a person's future or the offering of advice on daily activities via horoscopes, is particularly growing in popularity. Magazines like The Cut reported an increase of 150% more hits on horoscope pages in 2017 than in 2016.
Clearly, lots of people are looking for ways to interpret the stars for advice. Astrology is founded on understanding the positions of the stars, which seems like a scientific enough pursuit in itself. But is there any science to back up whether astrology impacts our personality and our lives? Here's the short answer. No. None whatsoever.
That's a bit of a cutting end. And yeah, well, what's your take, first of all? Do you think it's real?
No, I think I'd be a total hypocrite if I thought it was real. I'm an atheist, I don't really believe in anything at all. So I don't believe that it's real. However, I am interested in it as a hobby. When I say hobby, not so much as a hobby. I don't read it every week, every month, anything like that. But I do find it interesting when it pops up. And what's particularly poignant is I am the definition of a Taurus. One thing
Right.
that pops up about Tauruses quite often is that they're stubborn, and I can be the stubbornest, immovable even.
Yeah, I can probably confirm that. Yeah, I mean, that being said, I also agree. One thing that I am aware of, though, is when you are being sort of looking for something, so it's confirmation bias, isn't it? But that being said, I've got some friends who are really into it, and I never see or hear anything, any of the other star signs that apply to me. And I also meet fellow people who are the same star sign, who have those characteristics that are similar to me. Just like I see people who have a personality trait that is aligned with a star sign of somebody that they wouldn't necessarily know. So I think I do have a little bit of a thought on that actually. So what I reckon is when you're the time of year that you were born, will impact your life. So, like, you'll celebrate all of your birthdays in winter, so that memorable event will also be associated with the cold, or, you know, you're sort of always going to be having a birthday in the summer, so you're going to have that side of things. I genuinely do think that it will impact your personality, especially in seasonal countries. It might be different, obviously, elsewhere, but where the time of year will sort of affect you and a lot of your personality as you develop it. So I do wonder if people born around the same period of time in the year would have had sort of similar experiences, similar things to be like either resilient towards or more open to. That might actually have more of a scientific basis. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, that's an interesting point, and I wonder if a study has been done on that, because if you're a Taurus and you're born in the UK, you're born in spring. If you're a Taurus and you're born in Australia, it's autumn. So you would have different memories of birthdays if you're looking at it towards the weather side of things. Now, the thing with star signs is, I agree with what you've said as well. There are people with certain traits, but these things have to be true for like hundreds of millions of people. And it's just,
That's
it,
impossible.
yeah, it's entirely impossible that all of the hundreds of millions of people across the world that were born in May are stubborn. It's just an impossibility. But of course, the horoscope world gets around that now by saying, oh well, what's your rising moon? What's your rising sun? What time of day? Da, da, da. You can get very specific, but I agree with what you said as well. If you're looking for something and your horoscope tells you, it will be confirmation bias, 100%, completely. But that said, I do find it interesting. I find it quite fun, and I do believe that there is a sort of energy in the universe. I don't think that that energy has any bearing on our lives whatsoever, but I do think that we are all sort of connected in a way that we don't understand just yet. And I won't have an opinion on that until sort of science comes out and tells me what that is. But that's what I do believe. I don't believe that the stars, the planets, whatever, have an effect on my mood, although I wish that was the case, because I could get out of many a situation by
Well,
blaming
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I'm thinking, just in terms of the energy, which I do sort of agree with too, is like the celestial situation in a sort of in a way, like for example, the moon. So the moon controls the tides, right? So like, there's always this association with lunatic, like, or werewolves, etc., that the moon will have an impact on mood. And if you think about it, and it's sort of very like weird. I'm just trying to apply any sort of shred of science to sort of that kind of side of things. It's like with the moon, if the moon controls like the flow of the water in the ocean, and that we're 70% water or whatever it is now, is that going to impact things potentially? So when everyone goes a bit crazy around a full moon, supposedly. So there's all these sorts of parallels and stuff that I'm just trying to kind of clutch at straws. But ultimately, yeah, I think it's quite bogus too.
Yeah, there is this sort of energy, but I agree with what you've basically just said. I think it's completely false, but it's a lot of fun. It is fun. That's what I'll say.
Well, with this being said, I'm just wondering if what the compatibility is for the world leaders out there. Could there be a spark between Putin and Starmer?
I defy anyone to find a spot with Keir Starmer, but
Well, that's
yeah.
true. Yeah, even astrology wouldn't save him.
over to faking news.
It has been scientifically proven that astrology is not just a playful hobby, but is in fact completely true, and the stars really do determine your entire life.
To the delight of white cat ladies over 30, astrology has been proven as a factual science, and you really can blame your shocking behaviour on the universe. Whether you've been a total for no reason at all, or you've committed murder, it is now legally not your fault. The twisted universe made you do it.
New laws have been put in place to raise children in their natural astrology habitat. All Capricorns and Taurans are to be raised in a field, only taking shelter during the winter months, and all Pisces and Scorpios are to be raised in the sea.
Childline did voice their concern of small children facing all kinds of horrific weather and the impact it would have on their health, but Keir Starmer responded,
Well, as the son of a toolmaker, it's written in the stars. Therefore, it's happening.
Sir Keir also recently got away with being a total due to the moon appearing in Virgo this weekend.
And finally, King Charles and Camilla will be forced to divorce next year due to a lack of cosmic compatibility. Even though King Charles is a Scorpio and Camilla is a Cancerian, an astronomer said,
Their birth charts just don't match. Come on, little ebony petal Ray. We're getting out of here, girl.
1 month after the divorce, King Charles will be married to his star sign soulmate, Hollywood actor Tom Hanks.
Mr. Hanks will be the first American in the royal family since Wallace Simpson, but King Charles has said that he will not abdicate, with the palace press office quoting him as saying,
I'm not giving up the throne. I've only just bloody got it.
Back to you.
Oh, that sounds a bit scary.
Can't argue with the science.
No. I mean, it makes just about as much sense as everything else at the moment, so why not just separate everybody into their star signs?
Especially in the scientific world. I mean, you can't argue with science. Don't argue. Get the jab.
There we go. It seems we do have a leaked call between the King and Queen about this news.
Oh dear.
Miller, where are you?
At the palace, darling.
No, you're not. I'm at the palace.
The West Wing, darling. It'll take me about 20 minutes to walk around to.
Oh, no, don't bother. This can't wait. We have to get divorced and start having an affair again.
Oh yes. The astrology birth chart business. I fell off my chair when I heard you had to marry Tom Hanks.
Oh, only legally. I'll still be with you, darling.
The thought of you sharing a bed with another man, having to kiss him goodnight.
Well, Camilla, I did go to public school.
Right. So,
For 10 years.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I called to say I still love you. And after the divorce, we will still have an affair.
I don't think so this time, Charles.
What do you mean? Why not?
Well, I don't think I'll have the time. I fear I won't be able to get out of bed.
Yes, of course. You'll be too depressed to be away from me.
Not quite, but okay, if that soothes you.
Camilla, who have you been matched with? Camilla? Darling? Camilla?
Daniel Craig. And after watching all his Bond films, I can see he has a rather big...
Okay, I think we'll leave that one there.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.
Bye, folks.